What's going on, guys, and welcome to another Doctor Who Classic review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 5th Doctor Peter Davison story, Warriors of the Deep. Now this is an episode from Season 21, I believe it's pretty much Episode 1 of Season 21. The 5 Doctors comes before this, whether you count that as Season 21's first episode or Season 20's final episode, it's up to debate. I don't really know if there's a specific way of calling it, but anyway, this is pretty much the start of Season 21, which is Peter Davison's final season as the 5th Doctor. So now we're going to read the back of the DVD. This is Warriors of the Deep by Johnny Byrne. Earth 2084. Two global superpowers hover on the brink of war. When the TARDIS is forced to make an unplanned visit to Seabase 4, the Doctor, Tegan and Turlough find themselves accused of being enemy agents. Quickly embroiled in a deadly game of paranoid intrigue, it becomes clear that others on the base have sabotage and murder in mind. However, there is a greater threat to mankind: the Silurians and Sea Devils, prehistoric reptiles seeking to reclaim the Earth. Can the Doctor prevent them implementing their final solution and triggering a war that could wipe out the entire human race? So that's the back of the DVD for Warriors of the Deep. This is the third and final story in the Beneath the Surface DVD box set. It includes Doctor Who and the Silurians, Doctor Who the Sea Devils, which are both John Pertwee 3rd Doctor stories, and then Warriors of the Deep, which is this 5th Doctor story. The only 3 stories, including the Silurians and Sea Devils from the classic era. Like I said, this is the most recent, the newest one, and it is the most looked down on, I suppose. It's the one that people don't like as much as the others. But anyway, let's start off this one with the cast. So we start off as usual with the Doctor. We've got Peter Davison as the 5th Doctor. Peter Davison's pretty good in this. I think he's pretty good. I think earlier on in his run at the start of his first season, season 19, Peter Davison took a while to get going. I think he wasn't too amazing, I don't think, in his first season, but by this point this is his final season, the start of his final season, and he's very good here. I quite like him. I think he does a good job, and yeah, altogether, not really much else to say. He's a very good Doctor. He's very good in this. We have Janet Fielding as Tegan Javanka. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Tegan is not my favourite companion. She's one that a lot of people quite like. She's one of the, I suppose, the more known. She's really one of the more known classic companions. And I mean, she's okay. I don't mind her. She's not too bad in this story. She doesn't do a lot. She's just kind of there. But she's alright. What can I really say? We also have Mark Strickson as Visor Turlough. Am I saying that right? Visor Turlough. We only really know him as Turlough. But yeah, I think Turlough's pretty cool. I believe this is, I'm not 100% sure, but is this his first proper story after kind of he was introduced in the Black Guardian trilogy? So yeah, I'm not 100% sure if that's correct, but we're somewhere around that sort of area. But yeah, Warriors of the Deep is Warriors of the Deep? No, what am I talking about? Turlough. Turlough is a good companion. I quite like him. I'm not seeing a lot of him, but from what I have seen of him, he seems pretty good. A couple of others that I want to talk about. We've got Tom Adams as Vorshak, who I think is very, very good. Ian McCulloch as Nilsson. Ingrid Pitt as Solo. Nigel Humphreys as Bulik, Tara Ward as Preston. Pretty much all these characters, all these side characters, they're all pretty good as well. Fairly generic characters in a lot of ways, but the actors and actresses that play them definitely do a good job, pretty much all of them. So let's now get into the good and the bad of Warriors of the Deep, starting off as we do with the good. First of all, the Silurians appear almost instantly. I was really surprised to see how quickly the Silurians appeared, or any monster for that matter of fact, appeared in this story. Classic Who is known for taking quite some time to get going. However, I think, in the 80s, we did kind of, with these 4-part stories, they always did get into things a bit quicker, but I was so surprised that literally within the first minute and a half, pretty much, a Silurian was there. We've got a bunch of Silurians doing their thing, and it's like, oh, okay, well, there we go, that's pretty much instantaneous, and I was pretty happy about that because, I don't like waiting around for a whole episode or two just to see the monster. It's like, yep, let's just get into it. So we got into it straight away. That was very, very good. It's good to see the Silurians and Sea Devils together. Of course, we had Doctor Who and the Silurians, which was the Silurian story. We had the Sea Devils, which was the Sea Devil story. Now we get to see them both come together, and I think that's really cool. Although I think in some places it does feel a bit weird, you know. I mean, yes, it's really cool to have both these cousin races of Earth really come together and work with each other. At the same time, it does feel a bit strange in some ways, but I will get to that when I talk about the bad stuff. The Sea Devil melting from the chemicals, yeah, really, really cool scene. I thought there was some pretty decent effects done there, some special effects for that scene with the Sea Devils melting. I thought that was really, really well done, especially for the time. Yep, just I think a really effective scene. Defeating them with the gas I thought was pretty cool, you know, and the fact they were trying to save them as well, I thought was really nice. It did look a bit weird when, you know, Turlo and Tegan were, you know, sitting down with the gas masks on the Silurians trying to save them. I thought that was it looked a little bit weird, but yeah, it was a nice little moment. And also the Doctor cancelling the missiles, you know, he plugged himself into that machine basically, and, you know, stopped the missiles. I thought that was also a really cool moment. Gave Peter Davison some good stuff to do there, and yeah, just some really, really good stuff. Now we get to the bad, and sadly there is quite a bit for this episode. First of all, the Silurians' voices have changed, and they sound too robotic. Now, in Doctor Who and the Silurians, they had this, I suppose they had a slightly robotic sort of noise, voice to them, but that was just kind of, it was good, because it distinguished them from the humans, from human characters. We had this slight, you know, effect in their vocal cords. However, in this story, is it just me, or have they just taken it to another level? You know, it was good in the Silurians. In this one, they're too robotic. They just, especially with the light up eye in the middle of their head or whatever it is, the Silurians, they sound like robots. They just sound completely like robots. And it put me off. As soon as I heard them, I thought, that's not a Silurian. That's not what a Silurian sounds like. They sound way too robotic, way too generic, and I didn't like that. Next, why is the TARDIS left unlocked for the base's crew to go inside? When the Doctor, Tegan and Turlo land on the base, the underwater base or whatever it was, the crew of the base go around searching for them, and they find the TARDIS, and they just waltz on inside. So the Doctor just left the TARDIS open? Why? Why did he just leave it open? Doesn't he lock it? Isn't that a thing? He's got a key. Why didn't he lock it? What an idiot. He just left it open for people to wander inside? What? That didn't make any sense to me. What? Anyway, the Merker looks absolutely ridiculous. I believe we did see the Merker in, was it Doctor Who and the Silurians? You know, that episode was over 10 years before this one. I think it looked better in that story than it did in this one. They seem to have gone for a much more bigger thing. It's a much bigger thing than it, at least from what it looked in the previous story. And it looks so cheap. It looks really cheap. Very, very 80s cheap. You know, the fact that you can tell there's two people in the costume, one guy at the back, one guy at the front, and they're just waddling around. It looks so stupid, especially when they look at it. Oh god, when they look at it from certain angles, it looks absolutely ridiculous. I just thought, Jesus Christ, that is so silly. It absolutely put me off the story, to be honest. The Sea Devils look ridiculous in the samurai armor. I don't know what they were trying to go for there. I mean, I can understand, you know, before they put the helmets on, I was kind of like, okay, this makes sense. They look okay. They don't look as good as they did before, but, you know, this is supposed to be kind of, these are supposed to be the warriors of the Sea Devils. This is the warrior class of the Sea Devils. So I was like, yeah, that looks okay. They look alright. But as soon as they put the helmets on, I couldn't do with it. The helmets just made them look really stupid. And, yeah, although, yes, giving them a kind of samurai warrior look because they were the warrior group of Sea Devils, fair enough, but I think you went a little bit overboard with it, and I do much prefer the look of the Sea Devils in their previous story. Like I was saying about with the good stuff, how it's good to see the Sea Devils and the Silurians together, that is true. However, I do think that when you get two very rubberized looking not amazing looking. I mean, they look cool, but I don't know, there's just something about the look of them. You can definitely tell they're people in rubber costumes. When you get two aliens like that interacting with each other, it gets a bit strange. When you just have them interacting with the humans, it's kind of like, okay, this is an alien, they're different, it works. But when you have two different species, rubberized aliens, you know, talking to each other and interacting, I don't know, it just felt a bit weird when they were having their conversations between each other, so that was a little strange. And then the final thing is that the final episode ends pretty abruptly. Literally, the Doctor pretty much, he comes off his computer, he finds out that, you know, they're like, oh yeah, well, we've saved the world, the missiles are no longer being launched. And then it's just, if we find out that we couldn't save the Silurians and the Sea Devils, they're all dead. And it literally just ends on the Doctor saying, well, I guess they're all dead. And then the credits roll. I thought, talk about ending an episode abruptly. That was quite abrupt. So, what did I think of Doctor Who, Warriors of the Deep? You know, it's a bit of a strange one. It's probably my least favourite episode that I've reviewed so far, so because of that, I'm going to give it, at this current point in time, I mean, this can change, this will probably change once I've seen all of Classic Who, but at the moment, I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 10. Currently, before this, Castrovalva was the lowest rated episode I've done so far, with a 5 out of 10. I've given this a 4.5. Now, it's a bit strange, because if you were to ask me which episode would I rather watch right now, Warriors of the Deep or Castrovalva, I'd probably still say Warriors of the Deep. I think it's a more enjoyable episode to watch, but I'm giving it a lower rating because I think there's just certain aspects of it that I don't like. Like I said, I would rather watch it than Castrovalva, but I don't know, Castrovalva was kind of boring, but it did what it wanted to do, whereas this is like, it's a bit more action-packed, but there's a lot of things wrong with it. But yeah, 4.5 out of 10 for Warriors of the Deep. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.